Well, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Now, it may not be too strong in Denver, but several areas around Colorado have such strong wind gusts. We saw this, unfortunately. Yes, some roadways are now closed. So look at this. Even I-25 north of Fort Collins, the wind was blowing over semi-trucks. Very scary, very dangerous. We just got pictures of a couple blowovers along Highway 287 northwest of Fort Collins. How much wind would it take to blow over one of these? Curious to know that answer, Chris Bianchi.
Well, it depends on the truck, but generally speaking, 60 miles an hour, it also depends on what direction you're moving, you know, in proximity to the wind and what direction the wind's coming as well. But generally speaking, you start talking about 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. That can lead to stuff like this. Southeast Fort Collins, we did have a 68 mile an hour gust. By Buckeye, north of Fort Collins, we've had about 70 mile an hour winds.
Wow, very dangerous. Please be safe, everybody. And here's how it looked earlier when 9 News meteorologist, I saw this morning when I was making my coffee. This is Jaden Knowles. He was in the Netherland area. And here's a live look from Horsetooth Mountain near Fort Collins. Those trees have really been blowing at times and the camera's shaking.
Yes, it has been. And yeah, these winds, they are going to be lasting for the next little while. There's no doubt about that, as those winds have been really whipping some 80, 90 mile an hour winds for us here in Denver, and Lyons, 70 mile an hour winds for us. So again here, folks, those winds have been really rough for us here in the mountains. The good news is, for the majority of the Denver area, Sam correctly said this at the start of the show, those winds have not really mixed down at least to this intensity for us here in Denver. It's windy. It's affecting the airport. There have been on again, off again ground stops at DIA, but the wind not as bad for us here in Denver. And in Boulder, it frankly hasn't been that bad there either. Just outside of Boulder on Bald Mountain, we had an 87 mile an hour gust on Bald Mountain, but in town itself, it hasn't been that bad. In fact, within the last few minutes, this is just within the last 15 minutes, there was a high wind warning for the West Metro area as well as Boulder. That part of the high wind warning has been allowed to expire, but northern Colorado as well as the mountains, we still have a high wind warning for 80 to 90 mile an hour winds that runs until midnight tonight. So still a ways to go with this wind. It will gradually back off this evening. So the worst of the wind in the mountains, likely just about over and done with. It's going to stay rough through today. So you know, the difference between a 70 and 80 mile an hour wind gust is not that dramatic. It's still going to be pretty windy. It's just not as bad as it's been this morning. Here in Denver along and east of I-25, still a little bit gusty at times for us, but for tonight into early tomorrow morning, still a bit gusty, and those winds will gradually pick back up again, unfortunately, tomorrow night and to your Thursday morning. I'll have more detail on that, as well as look at some mountain snow that moves its way into the picture. I'll have that in just a few minutes. And I want to set things over to my colleague meteorologist Jaden Knowles for a bit more on that wind. This is from earlier today.
Well, the name Hurricane Hill is definitely living up to its name. I'm right here standing right by the dam, and the wind is just gusting so bad right now. We are expecting gusts close to 90 miles per hour as we head throughout the afternoon hours. That's the reason for that high wind warning. But there is some good news. We did see some snow over the weekend. That's helping the snowpack. And luckily that snowpack is starting to just really diminish the fire danger risk, because, I mean, if our snowpack was a lot lower right now, we'll be talking about a much different story as we head into this afternoon. But if you take a look at your screen there, even with lower fire danger, these kinds of wind speeds can still cause problems, especially with anything that can blow away, break loose, or spark. So a reminder today, bring in your holiday lights, inflatables, and any decorations that could get ripped off homes or yards. Not only can they become dangerous projectiles, but tumbling lights can damage electrical cords, which is the last thing you want in this kind of wind. So if you take a look at my live shot once again, you can just really see these conditions right now. The waters are extremely choppy. It's very hard for us to even be able to talk because the wind is just gusting so bad right now. I mean, I weigh around 190 pounds, and this wind is consistently blowing me back and forth. And the conditions are so much different just on the other side of this dam. It's more of a sustained wind that we're seeing over here rather than gusts. But on the other side, it was just more gusts about every 5 minutes. But I'm still here in Hurricane Hill, and this is what we are expecting for the next couple of hours, especially as we head into the latter parts of this afternoon. Here in Hurricane Hill, trying to be able to talk, Jaden Knowles, 9 News.
Stay safe out there, Jaden. There have also been power outages as a result. They have been up and down all morning, but right now there are just over 2,400 around the metro and to the north and the west. A new agency will be running one of Denver's homeless shelters after deadly shootings, overdose deaths, and hundreds of 911 calls that happened while the Salvation Army was in charge. Last night, the City Council approved a $30 million contract with nonprofit Urban Alchemy to run the hotel shelter on Quebec. However, several council members voted against the group that has had numerous legal issues and accusations, including falsifying shelter resident data. But one of the council members who voted yes felt she needed to.
The other option appears to be putting people back out on the street in the middle of winter again.
The other option appears to be putting people back out on the street in the middle of winter again. Yes, that was just part of the package. Apologies for the repetition. The organization, which is from the San Francisco area, says it'll start management in 3 weeks. The man accused of killing a dog breeder in Idaho Springs and stealing his puppies will not be going to trial. Sergio Ferreri has pleaded guilty. He did admit he shot Paul Peavy, but claimed it was in self-defense. However, 10 of Peavy's Doberman puppies had been stolen from his property in Clear Creek County in August of 2024, and his body was left in a shallow grave. Court documents show that Ferrer tried to sell those puppies on social media, and he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and robbery charges. He's scheduled to be sentenced next month. In about 1 hour, Douglas County leaders will announce a new initiative to combat retail theft. This idea involves finding stores that don't report all of its thefts. Companies would have 4 days to report the theft. They would also get in trouble for not keeping videos or pictures that could be used as evidence. The fines would be up to $50 for each day a crime is not reported. Fines would be capped at $1,000. The County Commission will also discuss the proposal this afternoon.